to welcome our panelists. So to start with, Dr. Nicolas Trombach from Bayer. So Nicolas' passion is all about quality management, be it in quality assurance, quality control. So next year, I think you will celebrate your silver wedding at Bayer, if I'm right. So Nicolas had multiple roles at Bayer, like LIMS implementation lead, computer system validation lead, and now your currently role is lead for quality assurance of the Bayer Core project, and we will learn later on more about it.
That's correct. Thank you very much for our welcome.
And another applause to the next speaker. Je vous présente Thierry Arlang de Roche. Pleasure to have you on stage. So Thierry, you're a new kid on the block at Roche. You joined the company 2022, but you're not new to the life science sector. So before this, Thierry worked for GSK, for Novartis in multiple roles like manufacturing IT lead. You also implemented control tower systems and track and trace solutions.
Exactly.
So, and your current role at Roche is you're the end-to-end value chain manager for cell and gene therapy, right?
Exactly, product manager.
Perfect. Welcome on stage.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Manda Pareka from SAP Americas. Great to have you on stage. So Manda has already 28 years of experience spread over multiple roles like be it consulting, development, marketing, and also solution management. And he's currently the VP for Life Sciences and Healthcare at SAP.
Nice to meet you.
Take a seat. Good. Thanks for the warm welcome to our panelists. Before we get started with the panel discussion, of course, we will have some use cases and really thrilling presentations by two of our industry leaders, Bayer and Roche. And we start with Thierry, elaborating on the journey to become a patient-centric and data-driven enterprise. And we start with Roche and their journey, and Nicolas next.
Thank you. So, no breakdance. Sorry, I'm not ready. Next time. I will prepare, so Roche at a glance. I think that you know Roche is a family-funded, in fact, company. First one, in fact, an R&D investor healthcare, and we are focused on sustainability also. What I would like, in fact, to talk about today is a specific area and a disruptive area. Is a cell and gene therapy portfolio that we have at Roche, and how is impacting, in fact, the supply chain. We have different, I would say, portfolio. One could be individualized, in fact, therapy, gene, RNA, DNA. We have also others, autologous and allogenic cell therapy. We have gene therapy activities, and we have gene editing. One thing that is very important is, for example, all the partners that we have, in fact, below. Contract, CDMO activities, and cell and gene therapy together are very important. We have to work together. And where is very important is the supply chain, in fact, change that we have. On the top, I'm pretty sure that you know this part better than me. Make to stock activities, forecast, demand, supply. Happy days, you have beautiful forecasts, you are able to deliver, you have a magnificent inventory, and you are able to deliver on time. Perfect. When I'm entering in the cell and gene therapy, we have, in fact, a disruptive, in fact, situation. We have an hybrid mode, make to stock, CDMO, in fact, coming, in fact, to us, and we have a make to order for the gene therapy. We have to balance the both worlds. It means that for the gene therapy, we are receiving, in fact, and we have, in fact, to create patient kit on purpose with, in fact, a specific regulation, COI, COD, and other elements, and we have to deliver that. For individualized therapy, it's completely a different things. We cannot start the therapy without, in fact, biospecimen. We cannot start with concert, in fact, biospecimen analysis. We are using, in fact, the body of the patient to make, in fact, the product, to make, in fact, the drug and the cure. So it means that we are taking, in fact, the biospecimen, we are performing a new gene sequencing, we are making, in fact, the production, and we are delivering to the patient to be sure that we can cure him. One thing that is very interesting is the time. On the top, best, in fact, supply chain, 80 days, end-to-end. If maybe, in fact, generally is more 120, I would say. When we are talking about gene therapy for the make-to-order, I'm talking about a week, maximum. Why? Because we have, in fact, the analysis of the patient. The analysis can change very quickly. We have to deliver it quickly. We don't have the choice, or the treatment cannot, in fact, work in an efficient way to them. Below, endurance therapy, biospecimen, new gene sequencing, we are making, in fact, the product, and we are delivering to the patient to be treated a month, maximum, with all the control and regulation activities. One thing that we have determined is the challenges that we have. The new therapies, we have, in fact, to bring it, in fact, quickly to the patient. A new technology, we talk about that, in fact, some people talk about this, in fact, before, are very disruptive also for us. Why? Something that was not possible before are possible now. Something that was not, in fact, capable, in fact, to be delivered quickly, we can deliver now for the patient. We have, in fact, to move faster the treatment, in fact, to the patient and in the correct, in fact, patient volume. The second piece that is really challenging us is the regulatory and compliance. Patient safety, no discussion, zero failure on supply chain, chain of identity, chain of custody. We need, in fact, to deliver the right product to the right patient and be sure that they have no problem. The second part that is starting to emerge when we are talking about individualized therapy is really the compliance part. Nothing is more critical and private than the DNA of someone. We have to protect the information. We have, in fact, to be sure that the patient is identified, but we have to protect the patient information. Data privacy is a key element. Visibility and simplicity is very key for us. We need to be sure that we are working not only with partners, CDMO, we have to work from the beginning with the healthcare professional. We have, in fact, to understand what they want, what they expect, and how we can be sure that they have, in fact, the information they expect when we are delivering the cure to the patient. So the real-time information that has been presented before are a key element for us. We need to be sure that we are delivering the treatment to the patient quickly on the secure way. We don't have time to react only. We need to be sure that we are delivering. How, in fact, we are working that, what we did. So we have, in fact, the patient journey that we have incorporated into hand-to-hand supply chain. So the patient journey for us is always how we can have, in fact, the correct, in fact, interface with the treatment site, the HCP, how we can onboard the patient, how we can have the biospecimen collection, how we can have everything, and we are providing this, the information, what's going on into our supply chain. Supply chain, of course, we need to have the plan on the demand and the supply. We have to collaborate with the CDMO, manage the logistics correctly. This is the heart of the supply chain. We need, in fact, to be sure that we have this end-to-end view. What we did is on the orchestration and exception management. Very clear is to facilitate the end-to-end operation and to have like a process control tower. What's happening when, from the patient point of view, but also including, in fact, our production activities. What's happening, in fact, with the partner? What's happening with the logistic provider? Data management is always a key element, and we need, in fact, to go to speed with the event base. The idea that we have, and is very important, the fundamental element that we need to have, patient safety of the patient. No brainer, we have, in fact, to protect our patient. We need to minimize the risk on the compliance and the scalability. This is the reality. We need to establish the relationship with the healthcare professional, with the CDMO. We need, in fact, to be sure that our partner are, in fact, delivering what they have promised, okay? Including IT, by the way. We need to scale the supply chain. It's very important, both for the clinical and commercial. And I will explain why later. We need to attract the treatment center and the patient. We need to be sure that the treatment center have, in fact, the right, capability to order the treatment. Doesn't matter if it's for Roche, Novartis, Bayer, or anyone else. We need to simplify the life of the healthcare professional when they are performing their work. What we did, Roche performed, in fact, make the decision to invest, in fact, in orchestration solution for the industry. I'm not selling anything. I don't have, in fact, any action or shareholders in SAP orders. So don't take that. I'm not selling anything. It's what we are doing and what we are searching. I will ask you later. Accenture, we are working with them mainly to have one treatment center platform for multi-tenant. It means that for any pharmaceutical company, they can enter the therapy that they want, and we can, in fact, the HCP can order the therapies. This is one of the bottlenecks that we have, in fact, of all. The HCP are tired to having to be trained, to have, in fact, different platform for any pharmaceutical company to order the therapy. And it's not good for the patient. We need to be focused to the patient. We need to simplify the life of the HCP to order the therapy for the patient. We are talking about simplify our life, to add value element. We need to help them to do the same. The add value element and the add value part of the treatment center are the patient. SAP with Tenthpin, you can see. No, we are working with an orchestration tool. So we know that we have different ecosystems, different solutions, different providers, CDMO, etc. We try to find, in fact, something or a capability that we can absorb and connect or disconnect any, in fact, tool on the demand. Courier cloud, courier activities, labeling, it could be COI, data vault, etc. We want, in fact, to replace, we can replace. We need to have the flexibility. Roche provides, in fact, the business case, mainly. And also with the best practice that we can collect from Bioforum or industry standard or industry expert. We didn't select one partner to reduce, in fact, our dependency, I would say. So if I want, in fact, to replace SAP tomorrow, I can try, in fact, to do it, in fact, without, in fact, a big problem. The same, in fact, for Accenture. So no dependency. One thing that is very important here, we are using this solution and also, in fact, the end-to-end value chain for the clinical trial and commercial. Why? We have realized that every time that we are trying to move, in fact, from clinical trial to commercial, we are late. Capability are not ready. We are not capable, in fact, to deliver on time. So this is something that we are breaking down. And we need, in fact, to bring the clinical trial capability up to speed. It does not mean that they will be perfect compared to commercial, but at least we will be, in fact, in advance and not late like every time. We are talking about reactive. We are trying to stop the reactivity mode to go from the clinical trial activities. Capability build will give us, in fact, to speed up, in fact, for the patient. This is a patient journey. And every time that you have a blue, it means that something that we are exchanging with the treatment center. Everything starts with the onboarding the patient, verify if they're eligible for the therapy, and we are doing, in fact, the patient onboarding, and we are going to the treatment ordering and the booking, the detailed scheduling, schedule of the biospecimen, and also the detailed scheduling for production activities. We are for the individualized product manufacturing, we are making, in fact, the packaging, we are making the manufacturing, we are delivering, in fact, the product we release the product for quality. Cannot forget for quality, or Nicola won't be happy. So we are, in fact, releasing the product, and we are shipping the product, and we are receiving the acknowledgement that the product has been received. Everything, all the supply chain, from the patient, in fact, treatment, until the patient is treated, is tracked, and we are, in fact, to deliver, in fact, the information. Including when it's our world, when it's in the logistic area, we need to provide this visibility to the treatment center. Where are we at this moment? We are using that to treat patients. It's not, in fact, a theory. We are using this to treat patients. And this is really important. All the stories start in 2020. So where Roche make, in fact, the decision to go to an industrialization strategy for gene therapy. We are creating, in fact, the business unit, like I said, with a patient operation. And we starting to have, in fact, maturing our agile and design to be sure that we have a capability. And we start, in fact, to build, and we went live with the capability that I showed you before. We had the first commercial launch last year in November, and now we are delivering, in fact, therapies to the patient. Where is completely different compared to when I worked for Novartis, GSK, and others. This therapy that is commercial was planned normally in 2025. But the authorities ask, in fact, to advance this and to deliver faster. We need to be ready on capability. Other news, last week is very recent, an authorities that was planned to have, in fact, an authorization in January 2025 provide a clearance for the therapy this month. So now we have to deliver, in fact, to the patient, because they are a patient that is starting to be over the age to receive the therapy. They're asking to deliver now. So it's completely disruptive. And the supply chain, create, in fact, a new supply chain for a new country is not that straightforward. So we are, in fact, to be aware about that. Where we need your help is really, in fact, what are the industry that we're expecting? What are the standards that we want? And we are talking not only, in fact, Roche or Novartis, we are talking about for the patient. What are the standards on cell and gene therapy? There are some, but not that many. And when they're existing, it's not shared or no one sharing each other. So we need to be sure that we are able to share. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Thierry. I just missed one important fact when I introduced yourself. So for good reasons, a week ago, I think you were awarded by SAP with a co-innovation award, the Global Co-Innovation or Innovation Award from SAP for 2024 in the life science sector. So again, congratulations.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Over to you, Nicola. Sorry.
Yes, thank you. Before I go into the presentation, I would like to explain what CORE means for Bayer. CORE, the logo, stands for Customer-Oriented Resilient Enterprise, and it is our project name for the upgrade to S/4HANA. You could think that it's just an upgrade program, but it's more to us, much more. What we are trying to do at the moment is that we are harmonizing the business processes over crop science, consumer health, and pharma, and trying to bring them as near as possible to SAP standard. And our aim is really to stand in 90% of SAP standard solution. What I try to depict here is a classical supply chain. Nothing new, nothing great. Yeah? We have a truck which brings any kind of raw materials, which go into factory, where you get medicine out of it, which you have to analyze. But what I would like to bring your focus on is that at the end, you have a qualified person who has to go through a huge stack of paper, which is piling up through all the different processes in between. And you have very late in the process then the decision of a go or no-go. Go is always the happy path, patient is happy, but a no-go at this late in the time makes it always difficult to bring any other batches to the patient. And especially with the new modalities, with personalized medicine, with the smaller batches we have, and also for cell and gene therapy or radiopharms where we have just a limited half-life, we need to look for new solutions. So what Bayer did in this regard is that we try to bring everything as good back to, where is it, the left side of the stream, so that we detect things early onwards. So we try to implement risk-based approaches, like parametric release, for example. So bringing items which we checked on the product back to the in-process control already, so that we get early on alerts. What we try to do is also, in the end, make a review by exception, so that we only look into features where we know from earlier checks that there are anything wrong with the medicine. And what we try to do as well, together with it, that we bring a QA on the shop floor, meaning that we have as much QA personnel in the individual steps as possible to have really the early alerts and the early detections. So what we're really trying to do is shift any kind of detection as early as onwards to have then an early transparency on issues and have an early on decision making, whether you can still use it or whether you can reprocess something, or for supply chain that you have an earlier remediation on it. What we try to do is that we build up a kind of digitalized world within it. I try to depict the SAP backbone as the light blue in it. What we try to do is that we bring all the master data out of SAP, ensuring that we receive the same master data in all of the satellites around it, like our LIMS, our MES, or whatever other systems we use. By that, we ensure a very nice integration of these kind of satellites. And of course, we also leverage electronic form sheets instead of paper documentation wherever possible, like with MES or laboratory execution systems. What we also do is that we leverage the SAP batch management features just to ensure that we have control over the batches throughout the shelf life and the process. We use the specification ID module from SAP and create specific numbers for a unique composition product, which is kind of bracket for the individual material numbers, so that you always know which kind of products we are talking about, and it's for us also the control over to our regulatory world, because they usually don't use material numbers, so then you have a one-to-one connector, which is very important for us. And we use the SAP PLM to start the work as kind of workflow tool for all the changes we have in the process. So we distinguish between then just the GXP changes and the ones which are submission relevant. And all that are produced within SAP and ensure that we have all master data to have really full control over SAP and the satellites within the system. And if you now look into the center of what we have depicted, you see the SAP Batch Release Hub. All the satellites can push the information of any events very early into the system. So for example, you would know that you have no changes for a specific batch, or that the batch record review is not ready yet, or that you have certain deviations which you need to take into consideration and which might have an effect then on one hand on the timelines when a decision can be made by a qualified person, and also what kind of decision it can make. And it's for us really a fantastic system, really with the traffic lights, to make all issues immediately visible. And one big advantage is it's very user-friendly, so even supply chain guys can use quality tool, which is not always the case. And they also get this kind of easy transparency and don't need to maintain any kind of Excel sheets next to it. And yeah, with that, I would like to thank you for your attention and hand over to Patrick again.
Thank you. More to come in our panel discussion, but just to warm up a little bit our panel discussion, also give the panelists a little bit time to breathe. Can I have the first poll questions on the screen? So please, yeah, use your mobile phones, enter the LogiPharma event app, and there should be a first question. Not that one. The prepared one. Yeah, so first one, really an easy one for all of you, but to warm up. So how data-driven is your supply chain from 1 high to 6 very low? And I give it maybe 10 seconds because it's a rather easy question to answer, I guess, for all of you. Okay. So maybe we stop here. So only low percentage of high. So that means still some work for SAP to further digitize
Yep.
the supply chain. Good, thank you very much. And there will be a second one. So let's get started with our panel discussion. And to start with Thierry, because you had more time to relax now.
Oh, okay, perfect.
So I really liked your last slide with the call to action for the entire industry. I think you said, we need your help to create the future standards of the industry.
Yes.
Why do you think that standardization is that important to drive towards this patient-centric transformation?
It's a very good question. When you see the number of therapies that are starting for cell and gene therapy, there are, at this moment, based on the information that I receive, around 1,000, below a little bit like 1,000 cell and gene therapy commercial in phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. The point is we need, in fact, to have the capability to deliver this. We have the duty to deliver the visibility to our patients, to the healthcare professional. The big question is each of us, we are doing that in a different way. And it's impossible for a healthcare professional, the treatment center, to manage that in the correct way. So we need to have really to agree how we can operate, what we have to exchange, what we will exchange with the treatment center and the healthcare professional of all. We need to also to determine, based on the therapy that we have, what are the information that we need to collect and to be sure that we can exchange in the correct way. We have, in fact, for example, in the normal supply chain, I would say, in fact, the GS1 standard worldwide, well known, we know how it's working, no big issue. Here in cell and gene therapy, we are talking about biospecimen, COI, COC, donor management. There are some standards, but they are not, in fact, really tracked and used by everyone. So we need to have, in fact, this harmonization of all. Which one, at the hand, in fact, doesn't matter until that is beneficial for the patient. That's all.
Yeah. Great answer. Thank you. As you already linked your two presentations with regards to individualized treatments, that's perfectly fine. And then maybe to dig into more detail about quality management. Nicolas, you very much emphasized on process efficiency. You illustrated not by hard numbers and facts, but you streamlined the process of the end-to-end batch release management very much with that integrated solution. And also you focused on paperless operations and quality management, which I think is still, there is a lot of still paper that is created in your industry. But how does the batch release solution also to ensure compliance?
Well, it's pretty easy to explain because the batch release hub has, beside that you have the nice traffic lights out of the individual satellites, which really brings every problem to attention, which is always the first thing which you need to be aware of. It provides nice checklists. So we started also with harmonization because we think it's really the key element to really think about what is required, what do you need to look at to make release decision really safeguarded and good, and bring this in checklist items. And what we really want to do is, depending on what kind of material we release, so final product to the market, is it a bulk product, are we talking about a raw material, different kind of checklists to ensure that the release responsible person is really looking into everything which is important to be looked at. And by that, we will truly believe that we make it really safer and also have a better quality management system with it, and not only just an efficiency gain.
Right. And I've seen one on the left-hand side, I think one statement about that individualized therapies are also growing business within Bayer. Was that also an additional accelerator and push?
It definitely is an additional accelerator. I talked also about this parametric release. To really ensure that you have this very low throughput times, you really need to look into your validated process, need to know what is kind of exception from it immediately, and have by that also very fast release decision afterwards. So it's coming more or less hand in hand. Yeah? The shorter the throughput times need to be, the better digitalization is. And the earlier you have to make really every problem aware and every deviation aware.
Yeah, exception management is really something that we have to take in care. You are going, in fact, to deliver something to a patient. The patient is not eligible any longer, but you have another patient. How, in fact, you can transfer in a correct way, in a controlled way, in a quality way, in fact, to a patient to another. You are here, in fact, to save life for the people. So you have an opportunity, and this is really disruptive, in fact, overall, to be sure that we can be compliant, and at the same time, we have, in fact, to deliver the cure.
True. Thank you. Yes, you already started to answer. Maybe next question goes to you, Thierry. It was really great to hear that with the first go live of the solution, you already have first patients on the new platform treated, so you also save lives with that platform. Do you also see challenges to scale up? So I know that there are multiple products in the pipeline at Roche.
Yes.
Do you see challenges to scale up with that solution for other therapies?
The challenges is more internal or bad habits, I would say, but not bad habits. In fact, I would say habits. So, like I said, in fact, during my presentation, the platform that we have is for clinical trial and commercial. And it's very interesting to see that to convince the clinical trial, in fact, entity on the supply chain to work with the preparation of the desalinization, there are always a feedback, oh, we are not ready, oh, we don't know the process, oh, we don't know. But at the same time, we have to step back and analyze, and this is the reason why standardization or discussion with the peers and other people is very important. What are the, I would say, independent elements who can work for any therapies? Okay, when we are talking about allogenic, in fact, therapies, cell therapies, we have, in fact, a donor. It could be in the generic way. It doesn't matter if it's a Roche, Novartis, Bayer, GSK, or someone else. We have, in fact, to build the capability to be sure that we can be ready of all. Clinical trial is also a learning that we need, in fact, to bring in industrialization. It's not easy, but at least we have to start. And this is really, in one way, is disruptive because you are trying to build something that you are not sure 100%. So you are building at the same time that you are flying, I would say. You are building the plane and at the same time that you are... But we need to adjust it, okay? And until that the plane is not crashed, it's okay. No. So no, it's disruptive. We have to scale up. We have opportunities. There are plenty of opportunities, including, in fact, in the quality area. How we can scale up that to be better is coming. You need to see that it's new. Cell and gene therapy is new, not that new for some players, but is a learning curve that we are facing, and the change in the supply chain will be pretty significant.
But if you continue with your fast-track implementation ahead of time, ahead of the schedule, that...
we talk about just before about the people. This is challenging for the people because we know that we have to help, in fact, patients. Do we have, in fact, the right people with the right knowledge? It's not easy. It's not easy to have it. But also, it's so high-demanding that we need to be careful about the work-life balance because the people are committed. And this is also a very dangerous area. So we need, yes, we have to go ahead, but we need to balance, in fact, the excitation in one way or another to be sure that we're coming back in a normal way to operate.
Good remark. Manda, I think as we have a panel discussion, we have to cover the topic of AI, of course.
Certainly.
And SAP is heavily investing in that area, also announced a new head of AI, I think, within SAP. So what is your point of view, or SAP's point of view? How does AI enable data-driven end-to-end value chains?
So SAP is a next-generation ERP focusing on business AI. So traditionally, our make-to-stock scenarios for commercial supply chain. Now we are expanding into clinical areas, development operation, and as you rightly said, tech transfer is also critical. When we hand over the data from development into the commercial supply chain, When you look at AI scenarios, there is a lot more potential because it starts with clean master data. How we want to capitalize, take an example of a clinical scenario. It's all about optimized inventory, predictive replenishment. Because traditionally, we had parameters like buffer stock, and now we are looking at personalized medicine with new parameters like patient enrollment and dropout rates. So that influences the decisions. If you look at batch release, there is a lot more automation topics we can talk about. How you capitalize manual documents, read those, take the data, and these are the new learning models that can help to improvise on the decision making. So it's all about moving from traditional analytics into predictive mechanism that can help faster decision making. And at the end of the day, you see it's all about cycle time reduction that can drive down the cost. So it's important to see these scenarios because SAP has a lot of market share in the track and trace serialization area. And there also we see a lot of manual error remediation. We see visual counterfeit detection scenarios of AI play a big role going forward that can meet our customer expectations.
Thank you, Manda. Just checking the time. So there's only maybe one question left for you, Nicola. Is that something AI-enabled end-to-end batch release process
I think
Bayer might already consider in near future?
I think AI will never replace a responsible person. I think it will be a long time before we can make this submission. Nevertheless, you know that Bayer is also very active in crop science, and they are also looking into the batch release hub as possible solution, where it would be much easier to implement. And also for pharma, if we are talking about CMO business, I definitely can see very good usage in grabbing documents, attaching them to the right places and things like that. And also making the easy stuff automated so that the decision maker can really focus on the key elements. And I think there it's a big future step, yeah.
Patrick, one quick question about when you talked about clinical to commercial, right? Where do you see the partner ecosystem on the clinical side? That might be an area that will help the audience as well in this supply chain event.
That's a tough question at the end of the session.
Perfect timing.
We don't have time for it either, so I'm going to have to kind of cut you off there.
But maybe just to highlight, we have a meeting pot outside, number 6 and 7. And we have even more experts, 6 other experts from SAP and Tenthpin to answer.
Perfect, perfect.
Hundreds of questions.
Please give it up for our panel. Thank you so much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt.